Hey guys, so we have just finished this slide. We've just finished it. I'm going to start again the context here. I really want to make sure you understand it's the value here is the skepticism, the growing skepticism. Is there truth outside? Now, there's going to be two other guys who study ancient language. It's going to be Pico and Ficino. Ficino, say it with me, Ficino. Say it with the hands. Ficino. Ficino is really going to be the founder of this new philosophic and religious paradigm. I hope you guys notice Cosimo de' Medici is the one that's going to pay him, fund him for this. It's really important that you see this. But this new philosophic and religious paradigm is going to really come out of that intellectual skepticism. But before I say this real quick, this is only about Florence and Italy. It's really only about 5% of the population. This, again, we know the peasants, we know the nobles pretty much aren't participating. We know the propertists aren't. This is going to be the patricians. This is going to be the merchants, the petty burghers, and more liberal-minded nobles. All right. So Ficino. All right. So I hope you guys notice in my class today, I did make sure you understand. Ficino is still, he is in the pattern, if you will, or the trajectory, or the history, the line. He is doing the work, based his work on Petrarch, Bruni, and Valla. But those three were really just trying to perfect Latin. Now Ficino is trying to find new truth in Latin. So he is kind of pondering, he's like, so what's this truth, right? And in doing so in Latin and Greek, and what he does, he develops it. And this is really important. In doing so, there's three things or four things he develops. The first thing here is Neoplatonicism. Neoplatonicism, we don't need to know the depths of this. So I'm just going to make it very easy. Neoplatonicism is a revival of Plato's work. Plato's in ancient Greek. It's a revival of Plato's work, and it synthesizes it with Christianity. Okay? Synthesizes it with Christianity. The reason this is important is because in reality, because it synthesizes it with Christianity, it doesn't offend the Pope. The Pope thinks Neoplatonism is just a version of Christianity or Catholicism. But in fact, it's very different. So once again, Neoplatonism is a philosophy that synthesizes Plato's ideas with Christianity, okay? The most important difference, though, and this is really, really important. Is everybody ready? Neoplatonicism is a belief that human nature is good. Okay, if you're not a Christian, you're probably gonna be like, hey, that's not a big deal. Let me move on with my life. I want to point out it is a definitive difference. Again, this is not when I say not, because this is a Christian society that we're in, right? When I say we, not the United States necessarily, but in Italy, it's Catholic, the Pope, right? Neoplatonicism says, hey, human nature is good. And if you're a Christian or you know some Christians, you can even ask this question to them, and I think they would answer this. They would say, is human nature good? According to Christianity, it is not. Human nature is fallen, it's sinful, and because of that, they're in need of a savior. Well, Neoplatonism, based on humanism, says human nature is good. I hope you see it's a subtle difference. When I say a subtle, I think the teachings that were coming out of the Florentine Platonic Academy that was patroned or paid for by Cosimo, they still were talking about Jesus, they were talking about these things, but there was a foundational issue that was a subtle difference that shifts that human nature went from bad to good. This creates kind of a new idea. And from that paradigm, Ficino pushes towards the study of Hermeticism. Corpus Hermeticum was an ancient Roman document, Latin document that he found. And he oh my gosh, he believes he found truth. He was excited about this. Hermeticism is really interesting. It's very different than Christianity. According to Hermeticism, we are fallen angels. And since we're fallen angels, we have lost our magical touch. But once we harness that magic, once we reveal that we are the angels, we will be able to control our environment. Very important. According to Corpus Hermeticum, revived by Ficino, he believed, he pushes this out only amongst his intimate followers that we are fallen angels. Once we discover that we're fallen angels, we have the supernatural power that will be able to overcome our environment. It's a foundation of magic. These were magicians. Sometimes we call them the magi. The Hermetics were magi. They believed they had magical ideas because they've realized their divine power. Again, they believe that God is with them. God is inside them. Really important you see that. I hope now, even if you're not one who follows Christianity, I hope you find this, oh God, this is way different, right? Way different. But do you see, Neoplatonism leads to this. And with that, I just want the last little thing I want you to do is understand this. According to this, the church is what's hid it from us. The Catholic Church has hid this truth because they're trying to create power over us. And this is going to be the message that Ficino preaches. Out of this comes pantheism. Pantheism is a natural-based religion. And Ficino, again, says, hey, Neoplatonism is cool. Hermeticism is cool. And part of this pantheism, and it's the belief that God is found in nature. So when we look at this, these are going to be the three things that it really pushes. Neoplatonism, that's going to be his public, right? He's going to publicly talk about that. The idea that human nature is good, right? Divinity is found in good. And then in his private, in maybe the Illuminati, if you're an Illuminati believer, they're going to go into this idea of the corpus hermeticum, and they're going to talk to their really intimate circle of believers that they have superpower. And then part of the story will also be a public is pantheism, that God is found in nature. Those are going to be the three things that are really important for this. And I want to point out Ficino, his work, all of his work is going to help create a secular belief system. This is going to be this belief system. Even if people don't believe in Hermeticism, it's part of their art, their media. It's one of the reasons why Lorenzo the Magnificent is going to become such an important individual. Lorenzo is going to be taught at this Platonic Academy. He's going to embrace most of these ideas. He is a civic humanist who believes that it is his job to make society better. And through this, he's going to become a national hero, right? And this is where we see Pico, Giovanni Pico della Mirandello. You can just call him Pico. Pico is going to be the number one follower or disciple of Ficino, right? And what we see here, and I do think this is important, he's one of the magi. He is a true believer. And in his Oration of the Dignity of Man, he really defines what individuals are and the power. And look what it says here. And I think this is much more insidious, the statement, than what Alberti said. Alberti said, "Man can do all things if he wills." It's kind of powerful. This is really kind of interesting to him. To him, it is granted to have whatever he chooses, to be whatever he wills. I want to. This is that part. And you may not get it, not a big deal. But I think this is one more step towards this extremity, this extreme. To him, it is granted. It's not about it is, it's about granted. And he's saying, once you get in touch with your magic, right? Once you get in your magic, it's going to be the idea of truth. This is where he believes Hermeticism is the science of the divine. And one of the fun facts is it's tied to alchemy. Alchemy is this faux science where you put potions together and you try to turn lead into gold. So Pico's the one that really runs with Ficino's ideas. He becomes more of a public face during this time period, and he really pushes it. And that's where we're going to stop for the day. I just want to point out, so I'm going to conclude both lectures. The pursuit of classical languages, Latin and Greek, through Petrarch, Bruni, and Valla, they uncover all this truth. And in pursuing that, the humanist Ficino takes that and he believes there's truth that hasn't been uncovered. He finds Neoplatonicism, he synthesizes it, he works with Hermeticism, he pushes pantheism, and now he's creating this public policy that opposes the Catholicism. And again, it's not totally offensive because, hey, you're a good person. Well, that's not offensive, right? Pope kind of ignores it, but it begins to undermine the idea of Catholicism and begins to give birth to the secular society. And the fruit of this is Pico, in his oration, The Dignity of Man, he publicly proclaims the value in which that it's granted within you, that you have secret power, it unveils, and we see this whole new world. Again, I hope these PowerPoints and lectures are doing well for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.